everybody. Next up, we've got Uriah, here to amaze ya. Let's see what he can do. Maybe he'll daze ya.
So I was telling a friend of mine earlier this week that I was trying stand-up for the first time, and he was like, "Oh, and have you even been to the venue before?" And I was like, "Oh no, never been." And he was like, "Oh gosh, you're just going in sight unseen. That's pretty ballsy." And I was like, "Oh no, not really." And he was like, "I guess that's a positive way to look at it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You go, you bomb, you leave, and you're still the same person." And just that statement hit me really hard. You're still gonna be the same person. And I was like, oh, that is the worst thing that could happen. Anyhow, the other day I was thinking about the Mighty Ducks. Great film as a kid. Yeah, quack. Quack, quack. No, great film as a kid, but really problematic if you think about it. We're introduced to the main character, and within 10 minutes, he is drunk and operating a motor vehicle. He's subsequently pulled over, arrested, appears before a judge, and is somehow able to talk his way out of that and into coaching a Pee-wee hockey league for at-risk children. He really doesn't seem like the kind of guy you would want around your kids. I just have to ask, like, who was the coach previous? If Coach Bombay London Dry Gin is the better choice, like, was the last guy snorting rails of Adderall off the kids' skates? But I'll tell you, honestly, the part of that movie, well, just the whole concept that really bothers me is if you were to change one variable, all right? And I know I'm completely unqualified to talk about the racial divide in this country within our justice system, but if you were to just change one thing, if that was a black man, same set of scenarios, appeared in that courtroom, there is no way that a judge would ever let him coach hockey. That was the punchline, in case you guys didn't get it. There's not too many subtle racists in the audience. It's a good thing. Anyhow, I live a pretty boring life, if you guys can't tell by the fact that I was replaying the movie Mighty Ducks in my head while at work. But just to give you perspective on this, like, the best thing I have going on right now is I discovered a really great way. It's a hack for eating Dutch Crunch bread, if you've got a sandwich with Dutch Crunch bread, because I love Dutch Crunch, but I also really like having a roof over my mouth, and those two don't always get along well together. Crunches in general, Captain Crunch, Dutch Crunch, they really just shred that sensitive membrane up there. But yeah, I was eating this sandwich, and I was about halfway through, and then I realized, I thought, like, what have I been doing for the past 27 years? And I just turned the sandwich upside down. It's pretty incredible. I really recommend it anytime. I don't know how I didn't see that before, but anyhow, Now, I'll be honest. This happened 8 months ago, and it's still the highlight of my week. All right, that's how bad things are. Things are literally this bad as far as how boring my life is. I had a sex dream the other night, and in it, I was just masturbating. That's a true story. That's a true story. All right, I don't know.
See, I was worried about this all along.
Oh, you gotta be at least an 8 to ride these digits. Maybe in your dreams, asshole. Like, seriously, who has a dream about that, though? Like, I actually started freaking out about it a little bit. I was trying to think about, like, what it meant, and, like, and then I was like, maybe it's from God. And I was like, oh, that seems a little weird. God usually doesn't come in my dreams, but maybe it was from God. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, on a side note, does anyone think there might be like a scene in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat where it ended up on the cutting room floor, but like Pharaoh tries to get Joseph to interpret a wet dream, because I really would like to see that scenario where he walks in and he's explaining and he's like, yeah, there were these 7 fat cows, and then 7 skinny cows came in, swallowed them up, and they still didn't get any bigger. And then Joseph's like, oh gosh, I don't know, it seems like you might have a thing for gore. Freud would probably say you're into elongated nipples, but honestly, this is just making me uncomfortable at this point. Anyway, I honestly think that would be a pretty humorous scene. But point is, I started thinking about it and I was like, oh, well, maybe this is just a message from God. Like, just chill out, be cool, don't worry, you got everything you need right here, and, you know, we're all good. And so if that's the last thing I can leave you guys with, that's honestly what I would like to. Just like, each person here is so special and amazing, and you don't have to worry about other people to like validate you or give you anything, because everything you need is inside of us already. And anyhow, enough funny business, onto the jokes. Yeah, so anyone know how to make a frog's condom more pleasurable?
Ribbit.
Thank you, that's my time.
Do you have any advice for any aspiring comics, stand-up comics?
Get out there and actually do it, and try stuff, and tell your own personal stories, and then realize that every time you tell a story, you destroy it and recreate it. And so it's not about the story, it's about the present moment, be in the present moment with that story, but realize you're also destroying your memories.
Pretty good.